Got my eyes on the scoreboard, feeling the thrill. Moneyline show where I call for play still. Betting on the underdog, watching the odds rise. Smart choices, big wins, that's how we survive. Line shifting fast like the wind at my back. Reading the game, making my pick never lack. Feel the rush when the clock ticks, the tension mounts high. Moneyline show where every day can turn to sky. Moneyline show, feeling the heat, making smart picks, betting fate. Underdogs win, overdogs fall. Moneyline show, where dreams can be tall.
Oh, we're live.
Watching the crowd,
hello,
cheering
and
for the team. Moneyline show, where we dream and scheme. Odds changing, heart racing, best place with care.
And
Moneyline
with me as
show,
always,
where we chase the
he's ready to go.
Moneyline show,
Human.
feeling the thrill.
Coach Human, it's been a while since we've
Understanding
done
odds.
Moneyline, but we have a lot to talk about.
No doubt. No doubt we have a ton to talk about. Can you hear me good, by the way? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I can hear you phenomenally well. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to start with there's been a lot of changes in the NFL and a lot that have been somewhat surprising. And the number one would be John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh has made the playoffs 12 out of 18 years that he's been with the Ravens. He's won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. He has been with Lamar Jackson, who's won numerous MVP awards. They changed things around when they brought offensive coordinator Todd Monken on, who revitalized the offense, not this past season, last season. But, you know, my thing is, and you mentioned the other show that we did with my friend Rocky Corigliano. We talked about it. The Ravens and the Steelers played for the championship of the AFC North. And Rocky pointed out that whoever lost that game, their coach was going to get fired. He said if Pittsburgh lost, Tomlin was probably out. And the Ravens lost, so Harbaugh was out. I think, obviously, as you know, you and I have both been coaches. I coached at the college level because I'm a better coach than you, and so I coached at the higher level. You coached at the high school level, but you know that over time, your voice becomes less impactful. You know, the longer that you're there, it's tougher to have success for a lot of guys, just because that's the way it is. I mean, look at Belichick. You know, Belichick was 15 wins away from beating George Halas's record, which has been since the 1940s, 50s, or no, 60s. It was 60s. Maybe it was the 60s. I'm not sure. But you know that when you're a head coach, guys tend, you know, if you've been there a while, it sometimes you benefit from a change. Now, I don't believe Harbaugh is going to be unemployed very long. As a former Giants fan, I would love to see him go with the Giants. But I wanted to get your thoughts on John Harbaugh being in the NFL unemployment line. Because there's 7 head coaching openings right now.
I think most of what you said makes sense. I think his approach and his style, you know, over time with what changes is the athletes and what they expect with each new generation. And
but do you remember when he was hired? He was a controversial hire because he had never been an offensive or defensive coordinator.
Right, he was a special teams guy, I believe.
He was a special teams guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was an outlier to begin with, and he's had success. And his Super Bowl win, if you recall, do you remember who his Super Bowl win was over?
No, John Gruden. I don't know.
His brother Jim.
Oh,
when Jim was coaching the 49ers at the time.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, yeah, that's why I think he's an incredible coach. He dealt with the Ray Rice situation, which was next to impossible. He,
Right.
He was there during the tail end with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, all those good players that he moved on from. And he really rebuilt the franchise. And he's close, very close with the new owner, not new now, but Steve Biscotti, the new owner. So I was really surprised by his firing. But in my opinion, with the jobs that are open, I can't see him being unemployed for long. Do you think he'll be picked up fairly soon?
John, yeah, I think he could be with the Giants.
I think he's the perfect fit for the Giants. I think it's either him or Kevin Stefanski. But he was hired in I believe it was 2008. So it was midway through the 2008 season. In a news conference, John Harbaugh was introduced by Steve Biscotti, who was the new owner. If you recall, he replaced the great Art Modell.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was his first hire, and he kept him 18 years. He's been the patriarch of the NFL coaches for as long as he has. He's guided the Ravens he won the Super Bowl in 2012, 6 NFC or AFC North titles, 193 victories, and he's got 13 in the postseason. The problem is, they've had a lot of first round postseason exits. And they lost, if you recall, to Pittsburgh on a 44-yard missed field goal by Tyler Loop. I mean, that if he makes that kick, does John Harbaugh keep his job? That always comes to my mind. So that just shocks me. And then Biscotti said, following a comprehensive evaluation of the season, the overall direction, I decided to make a change. And they're moving in a different direction. And he has struggled to have postseason success. He's had 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson. And he's won 3 playoff games, and he's never advanced past the AFC Championship while he's had Lamar Jackson. And you have to admit, this is the prime for Lamar Jackson. So they really have to make a splash here. Because you remember who John Harbaugh replaced? Brian Billick. Brian Billick, who had also been there for quite some time. You remember Brian Billick? You're muted.
That's weird.
Yeah. Do you remember Brian Billick?
Yeah, he was a great coach.
Yeah, he was a great coach. That's who he replaced. And even in the locker room, The players were stunned. The players were absolutely stunned. The only ones who were not were running back Derrick Henry and offensive tackle Ronnie Staley. And they made it clear that this was not a mutual decision. This was a firing. He was fired. So that was the first, there were plenty of firings this cycle, but that was, in my mind, the biggest name. Okay. The other one that just happened today that is the big news, Mike McDaniel gets fired.
Crazy. I'm not shocked at all by that one.
A lot of people weren't shocked, but he makes the playoffs last year. They get embarrassed when they play Kansas City, and ever since that game, the wheels kind of fell off. Now, they didn't have Tyreek Hill. He had the dislocated kneecap, I believe was his injury. But they ended up finishing 7-10. And the Dolphins were really one of the most promising teams coming into this season. And McDaniel was brought in to reignite Tua. I can't say his last name, Tagliavola, whatever. I have never been a Tua guy. I think he's limited. I don't think he has a strong arm. And I think because of his injury history with his concussions, what they paid him was outrageous. Because he at one point, I don't know if he still is, he was like the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And I don't know that he did anything to deserve it. McDaniel designed, and McDaniel, by his own words, he's a football nerd. You know, he's never played football at any level. He's just a football nerd. He loves football, and he studied it. And he really molded Tua. I don't know if you remember, Brian Flores was the coach before McDaniel. Brian Flores did not want Tua. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I do remember that actually vaguely now.
Do you remember he started Fitzpatrick? I think he started Fitzpatrick, and they had a winning record. They were like 5-2. They were doing well, and then he was kind of forced to make a change to go to Tua. And that was one of the reasons why he ended up suing for wrongful termination and got a settlement out of it. But the Dolphins, they lost to Kansas City in the wild card round. And the other problem was they lost 3 of their final 5 games of the season last year going into the playoffs. So since their final loss to Tennessee, they're 17-21. And they made high-profile moves. They traded for Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Ramsey, Chase Claypool. They signed Calais Campbell, Odell Beckham Jr., and they still had to have a reset for the first time, because they missed the playoffs in 2024 under McDaniel. So even with the reset, it wasn't enough to save his job. They were blown out by the Colts to begin the season. They lost Tyreek Hill in week 4 to the dislocated knee. And then, if you remember, they bench Tua after a Week 15 loss to Pittsburgh. And they played Quinn Ewers, who didn't play that bad. Do you remember watching him?
No, I didn't. I didn't see any of their games really.
I didn't either, but he played pretty well. He ended up being a 7th round pick. He had numerous financial offers to come back to college because he had another year of eligibility, and he rolled the dice and he played the NFL. He went to the NFL. So the Dolphins are faced with another rebuild. They stripped their roster down in 2019 and stockpiled draft picks. Most of their core players are under team control for at least the next 2 seasons, like Jalen Waddle, Austin Jackson, Chubb, the running back, Zach Seiler. But they have to make key decisions on Tyreek Hill and Tua, who combine for $108.3 million cap hit for 2026. Can you believe that? 2 players combine for $108 million. The salary cap now, I think, is in the 270s or whatever. It just blows my mind that 2 players can count that much.
Right.
So what, yeah. I mean, what do you think they should do? Because Tua, I believe, gets a bonus the first day of the 2026 season, which is in March. So they can designate him as a June cut and save money, but he'll still end up being like the largest dead cap hit in the history of the NFL. He'll pass Russell Wilson. Do you think the Dolphins should try to bring in a quarterback guy and try to, keep going with Tua? Because it doesn't, for them to maximize their value, cutting him now would not be advantageous. Cutting him after 2026 would be advantageous. So what are your thoughts on what they should do with Tua and Tyreek?
So Tua, to me, does not have the ability to get you where you want to go anymore. I don't see it. Why am I? I don't see it with Tua. And
I don't either. I agree.
Tyreek is it may be near the end, depending on this injury. I think it's got to be an overhauled roster for the most part. And 6'7". There you go. I say it. There's me say it.
Yeah, 6'7", 6'7".
All right. So anyway, so I think that they're going to have to overhaul that team. I think Mike McDaniel is he wears his athleisure gear very well. So
he's quirky. He's funny. He gives good press conference. Yes, yeah, he's very quirky. He's not a weirdo. he's a Seinfeld guy. He's just nuts. That's all.
Yeah.
But he's a football junkie.
Yeah.
That might be true. He's a good coordinator. I don't know. They did Hard Knocks with him. I don't know that he is the best head coach.
Right.
But I definitely think he'll get hired again as a coordinator. But the situation in Miami, I'm kind of surprised that he got fired this late. Like I kind of expected him, if he was going to get fired, I figured he would have got fired that night, that day, the next day. I didn't think they'd wait until Thursday to fire him.
Right.
You know,
It's a good question.
you're muted.
Well, this is what's going on in the NFL. You're going to get guys fired, and that's the whole process now. I mean, I don't see it as a big deal. I think the Dolphins stink, and the only teams that stink worse than them are the Jets and the Giants, and maybe like the
The
Browns.
Browns.
Yeah, those 3, 4. Those teams all stink, and those teams have always stink. I think the Giants might get Harbaugh. You never know.
Yeah, the
Daniel,
Giants
I
need
think, might be
Harbaugh.
better off as a coordinator, but he's been a head coach now. I mean, he knows what to do. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a rotating thing, you know. It's
Well,
every year.
the whole thing
Who's really
is
terrible. So there's some guys like you know, who knows what's going to happen in Tampa with Todd Bowles, who's done.
they announced that he's coming back.
Oh, he is okay. He's done a decent job, but like
Yeah.
you know, they lost a lot of games in a row.
They underachieved.
Is a pro though. He knows how to handle things. Raheem Morris let go, right?
That was the one that shocked me the most because he won his final 5 games.
Yeah.
Penix gets hurt, tears his ACL, and you know they bring in Cousins, and he delivers. I mean, they win their final 5 games, and you know Raheem Morris gets fired. Now I know he's only been there 3 years, and I know you're lucky to get 1 year now. I mean, because Pete Carroll gets fired after 1 year,
right?
But I just thought that was the wrong move. Arthur Blank has just been kind of mowing through coaches, and I thought that Morris should have gotten more of a chance. Do you think that he should have, or do you think that you know he didn't develop Penix enough, and they should have been more of a threat? I mean, they were close to winning the NFC South. They were right there. I mean, the NFC South is probably the worst division in football, next to the AFC North. But you know, between the Falcons, I mean, the Panthers won the NFC South with their quarterback, who is, you know, horrific at times. Like they're going to lose in the first round. The AFC South is dominating. Do you think Raheem Morris should have gotten another year?
Any of these teams, if they don't think they're going the way they want them to go, they let guys go. I don't know. I didn't think Raheem Morris was anything great. He's an okay head coach. You know, those guys are expendable.
He's just a guy. He's just a guy.
Yeah. You know, at the NFL level, he's just a guy.
So,
and I think that's what's happening with a lot of coaches. Jim Harbaugh for a long time was great, but he hasn't won a championship in a long time. You know, I think it just goes on over and over again, and they'll just recycle some guys and they'll move them on. And
that's the thing. I mean, they don't want retreads. Right. That's the biggest thing, because they're talking again about like Mike McCarthy coming back possibly. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't want Mike McCarthy back. I know that he has a track record of winning. He's won a Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. But wouldn't you want somebody new, some new blood in there instead of taking a retread?
Depends.
No, it does depend. It does depend on the organization, and it does depend on the coach. Mike McCarthy, right. I would not hire to coach a high school team right now.
No.
I if you watched him with Dallas last year, he looked like he would rather be, you know, he would rather have himself set on fire than be coaching a game. He just looked miserable. He looked like Belichick looked on the sidelines in North Carolina. So that's why, like, I wouldn't have pulled the trigger. Now, Pete Carroll, I was surprised because Tom Brady had a huge hand in picking him, and they bring in Geno Smith. Geno Smith had played very, very well for the Seahawks the last few years. He was very efficient, didn't throw interceptions, comes to Vegas, and is a dumpster fire. Now, Vegas is paying 3 coaches not to coach, 3 head coaches. That to me is like, I know the NFL is different and they have the money and all that, but that just shows your ineptitude if you can't get the coach right, or if you're not going to give the coach a chance. Right. I think your coach deserves more than 1 year. I mean, did you think Pete Carroll was that bad that he should have been fired?
Yeah, he was bad.
Yeah, a lot of people did too.
Again, the other thing, what Pete Carroll, one of the issues is that, you know, his stick, like these guys' stick, which works for a time period, falls away like after 10 years or 5 years. You know what I mean? Like running around, you know, now he, you know, hopping around, like even like everyone loves Gruden, right? On Barstool.
Oh, they do.
They love him. And he's like a rock star to the average fan because they don't get all this kind of insight. But to the players, his shtick is old.
Well, they get sick of it. Yeah. They're like, professionals.
They're not gonna respond to that.
They're pros. Yeah. They don't need that bullshit.
They're not high school kids.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So Tampa Bay, they kept Bowles. They fire offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard as a part of the changes to the coaching staff. They fire special teams coordinator Thomas McGaughey, quarterback coach Thad Lewis, who played in the NFL, Charlie Strong, who we all know, coach in the SEC, and cornerbacks coach Kevin Ross, who played in the NFL. And they also fired senior offensive consultant. How about this one? Tom Moore, who's 87, retired after 62 years of coaches.
Who fired him?
The Bucks.
Oh, wow. There's just a thing about how great he is.
And safeties coach Nick Rapone retired.
Oh, Nick got fired.
Age 69. Retired. He retired.
So did Tom Moore retire too?
No, he was fired.
He was. But so what did they think that Nick Rapone was my defensive coordinator at UConn?
I know. That's why I bring it up. I mean, he retired obviously because I'm sure he probably saw the writing on the wall.
How old is Nick Rapone again?
69. And the coaching staff overhaul came one day after Todd Bowles was announced to return as the head coach. The coaches met with the organization Thursday morning, and they were informed of the news among several anticipated changes for the Bucks after missing the playoffs for the first time since 2019. And now Todd Bowles will be seeking his 5th offensive coordinator in 5 seasons and 4th in 4 seasons for quarterback Baker Mayfield. So this is where I have an issue. Okay, your team has made the playoffs every year since 2019. You have a down year.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you overhaul everything? That's what blows my mind. You overhaul everything because of one bad year? Why?
Well, I think about it like this: like the NFL, aren't they always overhauling things?
They are, but I mean, this is a team that has been extremely successful.
Yeah,
They won the Super Bowl in 2020.
yeah, they don't
They
have
made the
Brady though.
playoffs 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. 2025, they don't make the playoffs. So now we have to overhaul everything. It's like, why not run it back? Why not just make your roster better? Why is it automatically on your coaches that they failed? I mean, it was a bad year. You can't expect to have all these successful years, you know, for decades. You know, the problem was Liam Cohen was an incredible offensive coordinator. He left the Bucks to become the head coach of Jacksonville.
Right.
So Grizzard was the pass game coordinator and was responsible for third down play calling. And he led the league at a 50% conversion rate, which is outstanding for third downs. Third downs, you always shoot for, if you can go 40% or above, that's considered very good. So I was just surprised. And they had injuries by Pro Bowl receiver Mike Evans, who was unbelievable, and the running back, Bucky Irving. And, you know, Tampa Bay, they went from averaging 28.6 points a game to 21.4 points a game. But the third down conversion rate went from the 50% to 41%. But 41% is still considered good.
Right.
But see, you can't blame them because they had injuries to Evans, the running back Irving, Chris Godwin Jr., arguably the two best receivers in the NFL on any team were both out for the majority of the year. They all missed significant time. So that's why I have a problem with that firing. I don't get it. I think that one bad year should not make you overhaul and start over. That's my thing. But so moving on to the Cleveland Browns. Kevin Stefanski, I think, was put in an impossible position. He was given Dylan Gabriel, a third round pick from Oregon. Okay. Shedeur Sanders, who was driving Rolls Royces and was a Heisman finalist, ended up a fifth round pick. And 40-year-old Joe Flacco as his quarterbacks. How can you be expected to have success and win with that, with those quarterbacks and, you know, those weapons on offense? They had a couple good running backs, but if you don't have a quarterback in this league, you're not going to be successful. And to go in with a 40-year-old Joe Flacco and think that, okay, we're going to win the AFC North, you're out of your goddamn mind. You must be eating mushrooms. I mean, they would have been better off starting Gabriel. You're muted.
I was just taking a call.
Wouldn't you
Yes.
agree though?
I thought you want me. So my opinion on Stefanski, right? And I have to go in 5 minutes because I have to go pick up my son. I'm watching a little college football if we can in those 5 minutes. I thought Stefanski did a good job at Shador.
Yeah, he played well down the stretch. Yes.
I think the team overall stinks, and I don't know why it's got frozen.
Yep.
Hold on 1 second. Back there. Am I there? Am I not there?
You're not there. That's okay. We'll go through it quick. The Final Four for the college football playoffs: Oregon, Indiana, the U. There you are. You're back.
What the hell happened there? I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Am I even there?
Yeah, you're frozen, but you're there. Oregon, Indiana.
Now I'm unfrozen. So so the finish on Stefanski, I thought he didn't do a great job overall for the team. But he could be a good head coach somewhere else potentially.
I would be happy with him with the Giants too.
Yeah, I think he could do well. Quickly, I don't know if he could do it at the Giants, by the way. But I think they need someone like Harbaugh. College football.
I hope they get Harbaugh.
I think the championship is this weekend, Indiana versus Oregon.
So tonight we have the U and Ole Miss. Who do you like? Miami is -3. They're the 10 seed. Ole Miss took back 2 of their coaches. They allowed Charlie Weiss Jr. to stay to call the offense, and I believe they let the running back coach stay. But Lane Kiffin asked the others to return.
Oh, he did.
Oregon, and Indiana. Now, who do you like, Miami and Ole Miss?
I like. I'm rooting for. Ole Miss.
I might go down to Frank's to watch it. Actually,
I'm rooting for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Ole Miss too. I think Ole Miss is in FU mode because of what Kiffin did to him. The U has looked great, but I think Ole Miss can outscore anyone. And Miami, Carson Beck has just been a train wreck, in my opinion. He's paid $10 million. He can't throw for 250 yards a game. He threw for 1 touchdown last week. He ran in another. The week before, he threw for 101 yards. What he doesn't do, he doesn't make mistakes. And that's what helps them. He's a game manager. He's a Trent Dilfer from the Ravens or a Brad Johnson from the 2001 Bucks. The other game, Oregon, Indiana. Oregon is +3.5. Indiana's -3.5. Oregon, they scared me because they only put up 6 points in the first half last week. I just think it's Indiana's year. I think it's Kurt Cignetti's year. I think it's Indiana, Ole Miss in the finals.
I agree. I think it's Indiana, Ole Miss. Indiana, Ole Miss. I think Indiana's the best team. I think. Listen, they already beat Oregon. It's gonna be tougher to beat them twice. So, but
Oregon's that was one of the biggest wins of the season. You're right.
Oregon's the second best team.
Yes. No, I agree with you.
But I'm rooting for Indiana. I'd love to see Indiana win. It's good for college football. so when you look at the ups and downs of the transfer portal / NIL, the positives from a fan standpoint is you have Indiana, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Miami in. And until you had the transfer portal NIL, the other system, Miami couldn't get good enough. Oregon has been there. Oregon's been there. But Ole Miss and Indiana would never had a shot. The new system,
not in a million years.
The new system, and I saw this someone put this poll. They said, would players, would they rather blue bloods, or is it about the blue bloods, or is that more important to them, or is it the money?
I saw this too.
It's the money, man.
It's all about the Benjamins. Yes.
Let's think about this. Let's think about
the Benjamins.
Think about you or me, okay? I think about my trip. I enjoyed UConn. It worked out great for me. I like Princeton better on my visits. So I like Princeton.
Of course.
So I wanted, but I needed to take the scholarship, right, at the time. It's a different world now.
You wouldn't have qualified for the financial aid at Princeton. Probably.
Yeah, so we're a different world. So, but if you look at it in that terms, it was basically all about the money.
Of course it was.
Even then, I needed the scholarship. It was 100%. About the money.
It was free. You go to UConn for free, or you could pay $40,000 a year to go to Princeton. You probably would have qualified for some aid.
Financially, I think it was down to like 15, 20 something, but it was still, I was still paying.
Yeah.
Right.
Out of pocket.
I was still paying. Right now, the world is different now because they, like I said, the other podcasts, like they would make it work for you if you were that good. Like I was clearly on the low end of the SAT scores of the guys at Princeton. But for Princeton, they recruited me as a tailback. I would have been a very good tailback.
You would have been a great fit in the Ivy League as a tailback.
And I probably would have had an even better career because it would have fit more what my skill set was. Whereas at high level FCS, which UConn was, my athleticism, I was better off putting on more size and being a fullback or linebacker, right? Which really would work better because there were other guys faster than me even, right? So at the tailback position.
Yeah, so you were dealing with better athletes.
Right. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I would say faster. I was a pretty good athlete.
Whatever floats your boat.
But speed is always a great equal. Is really, and we all know that. But because hey, if one guy could get to the touchdown quicker than the other guy, like you're probably going to play him. So, but yeah. But if you think about it, the difference was when it was scholarships and it was all equal. One scholarship versus another was not as big a difference. So I'm going to go to the better coach, the better developer.
Get me to the NFL.
Yes. Now that money's a bigger picture, it's really, that's why I use UConn Princeton.
Who writes a bigger check
as my kind of thing. One was free versus not.
That's a great analogy.
Check. I didn't know who was going to develop me better. Bigger check. Same thing in this for people who need the money.
Yeah.
And in some of these cases, you just $5 million is a lot of money. You're going to take that. It's the bigger check. So, and the people who have the bigger check in most of these instances, and I got to run right after this. I'll let you finish the show up. The people who have the bigger check in a lot of these instances have better facilities and probably better coaches now too.
They do. Better nutrition. They have better staffs overall.
Yep.
No. And no, we're good to go. We covered everything we needed to.
Yeah. I coaching.
So
maybe a Cully rant for people to get excited about.
No, we don't have a rant. We're excited for the playoffs. I'm going to try to go to Frank's and watch it tonight. Have fun with your son. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life.
Great show.